PGA European Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
Hello and welcome to the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. Well, for another year, the four majors have been and gone. Just one success for Europe, that came in the spring at Augusta. Nick Faldo, the round of the year perhaps, hunting down the shark Greg Norman, and a third green jacket for Faldo. Steve Jones had to qualify for the US Open at Oak Hill. Well worth the trouble. When the chance came, he took it, his first major win. And on the Saturday at Royal Lytham St Anne's, Tom Lehman putted his rivals off the course. And Lehman too coming through for his first major, the British Open. Mark Brooks had a chance late on the Sunday but didn't really take it. Didn't have to wait long for his major last week at Valhalla. A playoff against Kenny Perry. And Brooks, the third first-time winner of a major this year. When you think of golfing superstars, to be honest, you don't think of the Czech Republic. But they have their own masters of other sports. Vera Kaslavska, European world and Olympic gymnastic champion. And the great Emil Satterback, Olympic 5,000, 10,000 and marathon champion. There's been a link between golf and tennis, the two great summer sports, and the masters of the tennis court, often to be found on the golf course. Stefan Edberg, who will have his own charity golf tournament at Long Island before the US Open, tennis US Open that is, 6 Grand Slam titles. Boris Becker, who has a handicap to suit all occasions, but he's ultra competitive. He too 6 Grand Slam titles, but perhaps the best tennis golfer is Ivan Lendl, 8 Grand Slam titles. A handicap of 7 they said, but he's turned professional. On his passport it says professional golfer, and he's here back in his homeland this week to tee up in the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. Of course, he may not be the home favourite to win this title. It is his first event, of course. One man who would love to take home the Czech Open trophy is Alexander Čejka, who grew up in these parts before fleeing across the border from the then Eastern Bloc at the age of 9. Last year they made him an honorary member. And he would be a most popular winner of the 1996 Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. Well, Lendl no slouch. He played golf left-handed, tennis right-handed, of course. In practice, rounds of 69 and 73. Never mind the jeans, Becker can still play. Matt Becker, Stefan Edberg, down in Cannes playing in the pre-tournament Pro-Am. And as he retires, he's going to play a lot more golf. Well, this is a lovely part of the world, Mariánské Lázně. Some 80 miles from Prague, and it's a mecca for tourists. Cost of living isn't so high, that's an attraction as well. Very peaceful atmosphere. Hello, I'm Steve Beddoe. Welcome to the first of 4 days coverage. Next 2 hours live from Mariánské Lázně. From this famous old course, which was opened in 1905 by King Edward VII of England. Had mixed fortunes obviously since then, but now restored completely to former glories. And it's a popular watering hole on the European Tour. This the third Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. And of course softened by heavy rain at the start of the week, but the forecast from here on in much improved. Tree-lined at an altitude of over 2,000 feet. Not long by modern standards, 6,758 yards, par 71. Well, 5 of the top 10 from the Volvo rankings here. Robert Allenby, Lee Westwood, a winner in Sweden a couple of weeks ago. Getting playoff win over Russell Clayton, and Paul McGinley finally got his long sought after first win with a fabulous 62 in a Hua Booker. Been a runner-up 4 times, and I always felt that the chance would come when he least expected it. He came charging through the field to set a target that nobody could match. And this was Westwood at Forest Gardens' second playoff hole, back to 18 against Russell Clayton, in for a birdie 3, and Big Russ had no answer to that. Also a playoff, the French national, Langer against Allenby, first hole, and Langer no reply as Allenby clinched his second win of the year, adding the French to the English Open title. Well, there's the top 10. As I say, 5 are here this week. It's a tournament well worth winning, a prize fund of £750,000 with a top check of £125,000. So there we are, the scene set. Let's bring you some of the morning action. And Chaker out wasn't the best of starts for the man who had such a good year last year. 3 wins on the European Tour, but a 2 over par 73. If you're going to have an indifferent round, well, I guess it's best to have it first time out rather than when it really counts at the end. So Chaker with a little bit to do tomorrow. Just the 1 birdie on the card. Then McGinley, would he suffer a reaction to last week's celebrations? Well, not really. A 71, that will do for starters. Not the best of starts. Bogey, bogey. And McGinley also into the Irish Alfred Dunhill Cup side. That's pretty well been decided with Darren Clark joining McGinley and Padraig Harrington. Plenty of other places up for grabs this week. Lee Westwood has an outstanding chance perhaps to be in the English side. He's number 4 in the Volvo rankings. To the turn in 35 and starting for home with a par. We'll be seeing a little bit of Westwood later in our transmission. And Allenby, the man behind the sunglasses, ran 8 pairs. At a 70, that's a tidy start. It would have been even better if it hadn't been for that 7 on the 12th hole. And if you are wayward off the tee, there are big problems that are waiting on this course. Peter Teravaden's the defending champion. What a fairy story that was last year. The Singapore-based American out of the chorus line and picking up the biggest check of his career, the first win. Today a 73 as he starts his defence of the trophy. And the pace set by Jamie Spence of England and Dean Robertson of Scotland, both with 67s, 4 under par. Conditions pretty good this morning. There was 1 heavy shower and the course playing a little long. And this was Jamie Spence with a putt to tie the lead against Robertson. He's on his closing hole for birdie, right in the middle of the hole. And Spence finishing birdie for his 67. 3 under, Gary Emerson, Russell Clayton, who came so close in Sweden, David Higgins, who had a good week last week, and Paul Affleck needing a good finish to try and get into the Welsh Dunhill Cup side. And Greg Chalmers from Australia also going well, and Ross Drummond of Scotland. So it's a good-looking leaderboard at the end of the first morning. And no shortage of stars out there this afternoon. We're going to follow in a moment. Let's first of all take a look at the rest of the morning scores. Paul Broadhurst, 2 under. Had such a good Open Championship. Philip Price of Wales. Peter Baker of England in there as well. And Gary Clark of England, who qualified for this tournament by finishing top 10 last week and making the most of his chance. Joachim Hagemann, we'll see a little bit of him, 2 under through 7. Robert Coles, 2 under through 8. And Gary Evans in the clubhouse with a 70. Retief Houston also in with a 70, the winner at Slaley Hall. Mark Mooland, he too looking to get into that Welsh team. And that's a good start, 1 under. On Andre Bussard from Switzerland had a wretched year this year, wrecked by injury. Good to see him back in the red figures. Scott Watson at an opening 64 at Belfitel last week. Did not match that, but a good start, 1 under after 2. Gary Orr, former Rookie of the Year in at level par 71. There's McGinley with his 71, likewise Greg Turner. And what about Ivan Lendl? Well, great start, birdie 3. Well, as professional golf, it's all a little bit easy. Wasn't. Number 2 double fought since then. 5 over. And obviously must be suffering with nerves. We'll be seeing a little bit of Ivan, playing with Andrew Collison and John Bickerton. Turned pro when his tennis company Mizuno insisted that he play their golf courses as well, golf clubs as well, and decided might as well turn pro. He's got $20 million in the bank and do what he wants, I guess. Well, let's pick up the action with Bob May from the United States, out of the qualifying school last winter, and second into 17, 521 yards. It may actually have been his third, par 5. Of course, you can see very green, very lush. A little bit of rain falling at the moment. Just looking up in the skies, had a lot of heavy rain earlier this week and quite a bit of thunder and lightning, and that was a worry, but I understand that the threat of electrical storms has much receded, and the forecast pretty good for the next 4 days. You can just hear from the squelching feet that it is pretty damp underfoot. Played this tournament 2 years ago, end of October, and it was frosty. There was shotgun starts. They could only play 15 holes, and Per Ulrik Johansson came through to win. Of course, last year they brought it forward to this date, and Terrafainen came and pipped Howard Clark. May from just off the 17th. The greens look pretty true. Hasn't had a great season, and in all probability Bob will be back to Sam Rocky, to the tour school later on. He had a good finish last week, tied 15th in Austria, so all is not lost. Be seeing the likes of Jarmo Sandlin this afternoon. There's the money list, and the chance you can see for Allenby and Westwood to pick up that first prize, 125,000, to really get up the list and put a bit of pressure on Colin Montgomery and Ian Woosnam, both of whom take the week off. They're back next week in the Volvo German Open. You can see all 4 days on Eurosport. Andrew Coulthard will be looking to clinch his place in the Scottish Alfred Dunhill Cup side. Maybe an unchanged team for the holders: Montgomery, Coulthard and Torrance. And Wayne Riley of Australia. So like to be at St Andrews in the autumn, that's for sure. Padraig Harrington, number 10 in that money list, and he's already in the Irish side. Had a fabulous season, winner of the Spanish Open. It's really between him and Raymond Russell for Rookie of the Year. So all sorts of issues to be decided. The first of the afternoon starters at 13. This is Fernando Roca, who came second in Catalunya. Was tournament won by Paul Lorry, cut to 36 holes. And 13th, 235 yards long, so it's probably the toughest par 3 on the course. The match that you saw before on this hole, probably Larry Batchelor, Frederick Larson, Manuel Bolognesi, which is probably why I didn't recognise them. And here's Bob May on 18, 3 under now. Needs a birdie to tie the lead with Robertson and Spence. And the 18, 431 yards, like dogleg, and safely down the middle. And Roker playing with Eric Giraud and Richard Dinsdale of Wales, and pushed away right in the trees. Right side of the tree, so maybe I'll get some sort of shot at the pin. Let's see how lush and green everything is. This is the way 13's played so far. Just the 6 birdies, 68 pars, and 29 bogeys, and 2 that you don't want to talk about, playing an average of 3 1/4. Now Dinsdale, the Welshman, 3 over. Coming here after missing the last 4 cuts. We wanted to the Stars taking this week off. It is a big prize, Kitty, one of the largest ones on the European Tour, and a real chance to grab some goodies. Now Richard Boxall from Camberley in England, second into 16, 1 under. Ross McFarland, who's had such a good season now. This 3-ball started at the 11th, but oddly it's not alternate tee starts 1 and 10, it's 1 and 11, so hole 16, they've only played, what, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, this is their 6th hole. So early doors for McFarland and Boxall, playing with Emmanuel Canonica. Hope he's out there, he had to retire with an injury in Austria last week. McFarland, who's without doubt having his best season ever. That was Canonica out there, and such a long hitter. He was way past McFarland and Boxall, who are no slouches themselves off the tee. I reckon Canonica hits it as far, if not further, than John Daly. Certainly one of the longest hitters on the European Tour. You see 16, par 4, 385 yards. You just have to watch out for that water down there on the right off the tee. Anything sliding right could finish wet. 7 birdies so far. That's really not that many. You see all the players will be taking irons off the tee. No sense in taking the driver unless you're trying to get beyond those bunkers on 255, and that's a high risk shot, no point. Back to 13 and Rick Giraud. Done an awful lot this year, and we'll be looking for a big check, otherwise it's tour score surely. Sure, coming out of the rough, if you can get any grip, and he had to come pretty low anyway to keep it under the branches of the trees, so it would have been difficult even to stay on the putting surface. There's Ross Drummond. I wonder if he's got Lawrence Donegan on the bag at the moment, who's a journalist with the Guardian paper in England, taking a year off to write a book about his experiences. What a great start. 3 birdies in the first 4 holes. Just dropped the shot at the 5th. And Lawrence took the week off at Slady Hall when Ross finished second behind Retief Houston. It's a medium iron in, that's a super shot and a real chance of sharing the first round lead. That'll be a real breakthrough for Bob May. Go back to 13 and Dinsdale's putt for birdie, much needed. And one more roll might have done the trick.
Oh, get in.
That's known as irony. He did get in. You've got to hit it first. Took a while to get going at the start of the year, changed his clubs and just wanted to get the shaft exactly right, but has done that since. And I suppose he has an outside chance of making the Alfred Dunhill Cup side. That would be a bonus. Going to be at least one shot drop for the Frenchman. One over. That's not too bad. 16, Richard Boxall. Confirm he has now seen a Reading match. Was telling everyone he was a Reading Football Club fan, and then got a phone call when he missed the cut, the Can Open, back end of last football season. Got home, decided it'd be a good idea to watch the game next day, so got him a map of the ground and a ticket. I think he enjoyed it. Well, the pace was right. That sort of in and out season, had a share of 4th place in the South African PGA Championship down in Houten in Johannesburg. Not too much since then, and the flattest to deceive is the ability to win again, that's for sure. His best finish, share of 16th, top 20, San Jurek in Munich in the rain-curtailed BMW International Open. Never known a year like it for weather. And 2 under, and he's certainly got the power to get to somewhere near 17 in 2. So it could be right up amongst our leaders in a few minutes' time. As if it could have been Ross Drummond to me. But it's not. In fact, it's Bob May taking the sweaters off, you see, on the way. Bob from California. 27-year-old. He was runner-up in the British Amateur in '91, played in the American Walker Cup side of that year. The score's been amended. This is to finish 300. I didn't think he made a birdie at the last. Can he make a birdie at 18? He can, so he finishes 3 under 68, 1 shot off the pace, and that's just about Bob May's best year on the European Tour. Obviously, when he turned pro '91, tried his luck in America, not too much success, and now trying his luck over in Europe, and he hasn't found it too easy, but that will help.
Just a 10 to finish with it.
So Bob May. A round of 68, 3 under par. Well, that one was a bit more positive, thankfully. So a par at 16 for Ross McFarlane. Par for all three of that trio. Long way to go. Back at 13, and some mistaken have been once or twice. That's Gordon Brown Jr. In fact, it's Gordon Brown Jr. coming late. It's not been a good start, has it? Been a good start for Dean Robertson and Jamie Spence there in the clubhouse with rounds of 67. They lead, and Bob May joining that group on 3 under. We're underway. Live action from the first round of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. I'm Steve Beddoe, and I'll see you again after these. Welcome back. There's the situation weather-wise. A little bit of rain, 1 or 2 showers expected this afternoon at Mariánské Lázně, which lies about 80 miles from Prague. This is one of the richest tournaments on the European Tour, £750,000. And the course playing a little longer because of the heavy rain we had earlier in the week. But as you can see, it's a charming part of the world. They've restored the clubhouse to its former glory. There's the hut which serves as the recorder's tent. That's where 12 months ago Peter Teravainen couldn't believe his luck when he came through to win his first tournament. Not clear what his other 2 wishes were for 1995, and he started with a 73. With the lead shared by Dean Robinson and Jamie Spence, safely in the clubhouse after rounds of 67. There you can see Mariánské Lázně close to the German border, and that's why it was so easy, I guess, for Alexander Chaikin and his father, when little Alexander was age 9, to slip across the border. And then Czechoslovakia, part of the Eastern Bloc, now the Republic of Czechoslovakia. Across he went at the age of 9, and last year returned, having won in Austria the week before, to be made an honorary member. Now, Lee Westwood playing with Jim Payne and Gordon Brown Jr. Westwood, with that first win at Forest Gardens 2 weeks ago, took a busman's holiday, was in Gothenburg for the weekend. And that is a party city, believe me, he never sleeps on a Saturday night, but went up to Forest Gardens on the Sunday and saw Lee Westwood come through after a player. Paul Broadhurst was in there as well with Russell Clayton. He went down 18 the first extra hole, and Paul Broadhurst was eliminated. And then, as you saw at the top of this show, Westwood with a putt about twice as long as this one for a birdie second time round, and poor old Russell Clayton, nothing he could do about it. Just changed coaches, and spent many years with John King at Worksop, now working with Peter Cowan, former tour player. And he's pretty good from that range. Engaged to Laurie, Andrew Coulthardt's sister. Of course, Andrew Coulthard still looking for his first win, as you're probably all well aware. Here's Joachim Hegman, who's had a quiet year so far, but he's always capable of golf like that. Out in 31, 3 under par. Was played in the Ryder Cup in '93. Brown Jr. coming off 3 missed cuts in a row. He's been working hard on remodeling his swing. Sometimes it takes a week or 2 before the improvement that you feel turns into scores. But he's had a pretty solid season nevertheless. 36 in the Volvo rankings. And a par. Remains at 1 over. Now Mark Litton, a 64, and that was set in 1995. That's a course record to beat, and if you do, £3,000 from Johnny Walker. Jim Payne, the winner of the Italian Open, need to get back to level par, and Payne needs a good week, 16th in the rankings. He really has a chance of making that English side for St Andrews in the Dunhill Cup. always be a little bit careful about predicting what the lineups will be, because sometimes certainly world rankings are introduced, but I don't think Nick Fowler is going to be playing at St Andrews, so Lee Westwood seems certain to be there, and I should think Jim Payne has an ideal opportunity as well. He's the next Englishman in the money list at the moment. Russell Clayton just a couple of places behind, so it could be an unusual looking England lineup. Roker has got to 14, par 4 of only 364 yards, and he's driven to the angle of the dog leg, and they're just waiting for them to not drive off behind. Here is 14. You can see how it just doglegs from left to right at the end, and if you take the driver out, well, you can probably fly those bunkers. 233 yards and 14 birdies so far, but of course if you try and fly those bunkers and you're a little bit offline, then 13 bogeys tell the story. Oh dear. See, these pros are very aggressive on these short putts, and normally they hit the back of the hole and drop in, but that one's almost as far past as when he started. I don't know if you saw Paul Broadhurst take 4 putts from close range on the 18th at Carnoustie in the Scottish Open, and he was trying on every one. Westwood then, well, I shouldn't have walked off there with a 4, but he has, and he's 3 over. All right, Dinsdale.
Un peu à gauche. Hein. Ouais.
Il a roulé d'après moi. Jusqu'à la marque.
Ouais.
So there's some distance from the men who set the pace. Robinson and Spence. Gary Emerson from the South Wilts Club in with a 3 under, 68. You see Bob May also with a round of 68, or it will be in the end. Paul Broadhurst beaten in that playoff, a 69. Roger Vessels from South Africa, 70. And Robert Allenby chasing his 3rd title of the year, also 70, a steady start.
Pleine boîte.
And Giraud, 128th in the Volvo rankings. Top 115 will keep their cards. There's 5 more cards for the Challenge Tour this year, and they'll get 15. And back on 13, and it should be the 3 ball of Adam Hunter, Wayne Riley and Jarmo Sandlin. This a long par 3. So it looks like Riley on the tee, winner of the Portuguese Open at the Aroeira earlier this year, and also had a share of 2nd place at Drury's Glen in the Murphy's Irish Open. So he's having a good season. I don't want to keep harping on about the Alfred Dunhill Cup, but he's been overlooked once or twice in the past for the Australian side and made his displeasure known. I actually think he's got every chance of playing for Australia this year. Just distracted. Riley at the moment 8th in the money list, because he's behind Robert Allenby. And I suppose if Elkington and Norman decide they want to play. Long iron. Just trying to fade that one in. It looks pretty good. Oh, it's perfect. What a fine shot from Wayne Riley. Right on the pin, lasers it at the flag. A little bit further away from it, looks maybe 7 or 8 feet, but should make a 2 and deserves a 2 after a shot like that. Kanonica at 17. Pretty close in 2, but even he couldn't get up. Fast shot though, was he? Just opting to bounce it in the fringe, and it's always a little risky. The players, if they can, would prefer to pitch on the putting surface, more consistency in the bounce, but every chance of a fall. There's Jarmo Sandelin. Goodness knows what he's hitting. Could be a 5-iron. He's found the trees and a little bit lucky to come through the branches, but that seems to be sitting down. When Jarmo's in front of the cameras, life is never dull. Eight birdies so far. We think Wayne Riley has every chance of making that figure 9 and 33 bogeys, and Jarmo had every chance of making that 34. Now Adam Hunter, winner of last year's Portuguese Open, that was at Penhalonga, and he's been pretty quiet since, but a closing 64 at Woudviertel and a share of 4th place in the Hulbrugge last week. Also looks as if it could be close. Just kicking away a little bit to the left, but pin high. The best of the 3, and that's Sandelin the man with the problems. See, it's 17, rather like 16. The water on the right comes into play this time though for the second shot, and if you're going to take on the challenge, you have to be aware again if you come off the shot just the least bit. Jumped off the face a little bit. Looks as if he's a bit frustrated with his game. He's been on the fringes of contention once or twice, and he knows he has the ability to win again, and just has to keep a little bit patient. Not much breeze about. See the tops of the trees hardly moving, so although the course is somewhat soft and playing a little bit longer, it is receptive for scoring, but not for poor old Ivan Lendl. Looks like he's going out of this one in straight sets. Oh, started so well, should have declared. 41 to the turn, 7 over, but he's got a par at 10. He's stopped the bleeding. Going out in an ambulance, and maybe they would be better to coming home. Be interesting to have a look at his swing, and I think originally it was just going to play the Pro Am, and I said, well, why don't you play in the tournament? And he fancied the challenge. Man who dominated tennis, was world #1 for 270 weeks in a row. And you see the whiskers on Wayne Riley. Very debonair. No place that he pitched to the hole. He's on the line of Adam Hunter, so he's repairing the pitch mark, but Adam Hunter can now then do his own little bit of gardening on it. He's just tapping it down. First of all, it will be Jarmo to play. tried his luck in America without any real success at all early in the season, having got his player's card at the school last winter. Came back and won the Madeira Open at Santander, and they're currently 34th on our Volvo rankings from just 11 appearances. Carries 4 wedges normally in the bag. He should have one that can do the job he wants to. He just has to worry about the branches, but if the higher he can get this, the better. And he heard his partners appreciated that one. Played it beautifully. Of course, Wayne Riley just leaning on his putter. It's not just about the Alfred Dunhill Cup position in the Volvo rankings. Here's Joachim Hagemann, turning 31 as we saw, and starting for home with a par. And with Derek Cooper and Matt Slanner, and with any luck towards the end of this broadcast, we should see a little bit of Joachim in action. Long overdue return to form. He's flattered to deceive once or twice. He's still down there 65th in the money list at the moment, but he has the temperament and has the pedigree to come through and win. Now Payne, Westwood and Brown Jr. 14. Just looking to get this one close. One back really motored past him. And car in the background there, must be a larder. Sound too healthy. Well, Jim, it's great to see him back and playing so well this year after a back injury kept him out for some time and sapped his confidence. So Kononica finding this course to his liking. And within one shot of the leaders, if he can make a 3 at the last, then he will tie the first round lead thus far. There's Bob May. And in a moment we should see his figures, the round of 68. The American on his first season on the European Tour. Come on. Two shots going in a row for Lee Westwood. Quite often you see this after a win, they maybe suffer a reaction next time out. Goals, targets change, or maybe it's just a problem to get yourself motivated after being on such a high. Lee, who took last week off. Come on, get in for a 2. Nicely done, and it was no less than the tee shot deserved.
Especially after being reprimanded off the headmaster.
Now, who will be the headmaster? Whoever he is. Just hope he was somewhere else and didn't see that. I think it's David Probin, the tournament director. A bit young for a headmaster. Jim Payne, 3-putt. Find out who the headmaster is for you for tomorrow. Yes, Jim Payne spent some time with Jim in South Africa, and he was a little bit low. Didn't really know if the injury would mend completely, but all those doubts answered at Bergamo. Brown Jr., though he's working hard on his swing at level par, I wouldn't rule him out of being a winner before the season's through. He's a class act. Morning, Kirkcaldy. Scott now lives down in Bristol. The accent is Bristolian, but the heart is still Scottish. Going through to 15, short par 4, just 313 yards. But again, well, Yarmo may have a go at it a little bit later, but the bunkers you've got to lay up really. Don't think you'll be seeing the players take and drivers from this tee, or even the 3 would know it's an iron sensibly for Brand Junior. Don't want to be too far right to the centre of the fairway. You do get blocked out by the trees. That looks okay. Having recovered from injury and become a winner again, Chimpane has the ability to become a major star of European golf. Beautiful swing, so solid. He's a tall man. That's now not too far. Just through the fairway, but that's okay. And down the left side, really opening the green up. Lee Westwood with the, surely it must be fairway wood, a little forward. Quite a bit of body movement on the backswing and on the follow through as well, and maybe should have gone with the iron. It took that quite a long way left, and fortunately there's a gap in the trees. He may have been going for it. He's over quite a few of the bunkers, but he may not get any reward. I guess he's so far over par, he's thinking, well, I'm gambled, I've got to get a couple of shots back, sooner the better. Well, we'll see if he manages it after the break. Dean Robertson and Jamie Spence still there, sitting proudly at the top of the leaderboard after rounds of 67. You can see no shortage of players at 3 under. Emerson, Claydon, Higgins, Affleck, Hospital, Chalmers and Bob May, who's in fact finished his round. We'll be back at Mariánské Lázně for more action after the break. A long way and not even time for a cup of tea. It's the first round of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open, 3rd time it's been staged, and as ever the home Mariánské Lázně, one of the best stops on the European Tour, not just for the course and the ambience, but quite a lively little holiday town, and everybody looks forward to this week. That one through the trees. I think that's 16. Water away on the right, and the first 3-ball of the afternoon, playing the course the right way round. Giro, Roca and Dinsdale. Sort of shot that would intimidate the high handicap golfer. Drawing it away from the water, setting it out down the right, and if you know you're going to hit that draw, that's the percentage shot. America's 75th in the money list, so looks like he's going to retain his card thanks to that finish in Catalonia. Just a very lofty club, maybe a 9-iron or even a wedge in for Canonica at 18. Oh, look at the action on that. Well, he's going to putt, similar to the one Jamie Spence hold to tie the lead. And Chimpane right over the flag, and I don't know if that was a misread, maybe one club too many into the bunker at the back. Gordon Brand Jr. just punching his wedge in. Looking for 2 birdies in a row. second place behind Patrick Harrington in Spain. Also a share of third place in Cannes, won by Raymond Russell. One of the 11 first-time winners on the European Tour so far this year. Now, just a question really for Lee Westwood of how it lies. I'm sure he's got the most lofted wedge he can at it. Got a little bit of green to work with, but not far off pin high, and that might have been the driver he had out. Might have been having a tilt at the green. Pretty good result. All sorts of things could have happened to the ball, could have sat down very quickly, but that will do, and he may get away with the 3 that he was surely seeking. Westwood, who made first 12 cuts as a professional, was that 3 seasons ago. Last season was not quite so good, but this season, obviously with that win, has been exceptional. Now here's Jarmo Sandlin back at 14, one of the 4 wedges. It's a long green and the pin cut right at the back in the narrow part, so you really have to be very accurate if you go at the pin. There's Wayne Riley's card, and started with a 5. It's been pretty tidy since then. 2 under. Thanks to that birdie at 13. And that beard, that's very elegant, isn't it? Yes. I've seen him with a full set of whiskers, or designer stubble perhaps, but that's quite new. Share of the lead then for this man, Konanika, if he can make this putt. Just breaking out of that posse on 3 under. Doesn't matter too much at this stage. He'd be, if he misses it and gets down in 2 and has to settle for a 68, he'll still be delighted. Just a little bit early on, that just took the pace off it, but it's a simple tap in for that 68, and that will do.
It's a funny one, Paul. Yeah. It's completely different the other side. It looks a lot more left to right the other side.
That's what I've got instinct. First
look, part of the putt's going this way.
Yeah.
Let's hear Ross McFarlane and his caddy debating the intricacies of the putt that he's got left. Let me see that again in a moment. Let's go back though to Wayne Riley. Long way shot. He'd do well to get down in 2 from here. Long handle putter, more effective normally from about the range that Wayne Riley's left himself. Was the intercity? No way, that was stopping. Just about the longest putt he could possibly have had. Hit at 15, and Westwood lining up his birdie putt. You can see 4 over. He knows that if he can pick up a shot here and 16 or 17 the par 5 and finish with a flourish, then it won't have been such a bad day's work. Good plan, just didn't work. He's getting a little bit annoyed with himself now. Fairly placid character, didn't show too much emotion. Now big Darren Clark back at 13. And certainly got the power to take on this hole. It's a beauty. Well, that's even better than Wayne Riley's, and Clark, if he can get the putter going, has to be a danger in any tournament. And there's Matthias Gromberg, changed his clubs, gone from Wilson to Max Flam. Just saying, in Sweden, had a chat with him, and he was saying, just got to get the shafts right, they're not quite right for me. So he's obviously changed them, he's worked with them last week, they seem to be working pretty well today. Sanderlin for his 3 at 14. Early days, but we haven't really seen anybody get close to the pin with their second. It is a tough pin placing, any doubt at all. And even Yarmo a little subdued, it seems, today. 1 over. Not too bad, but it'll be interesting to see if he goes for the green at this next hole. I rather fancy he might. Portrick Harrington. If he gets inside Darren Clark, it would be some shot. Won't do that, but it's still pretty good. Riley to save his par, hopefully, at 14. Well done. Well done. That's almost as good as a birdie. He hasn't played the hole particularly well. A long way with his second. Not much closer really when he was putting for par in real terms, but it's off with a 4, and the caddy occasionally has to take a bit of abuse. Has a smile, but he's still not happy. And here's Lee Westwood's soon-to-be brother-in-law, Andrew Coulthard. 7th in the money list. That one just pitching a little short and getting kind of friendly kick on really, a little bit left, it has to be said, but could have easily have sat down. Westwood still with the honour at 16. Gone left, even further lefty. Should be in big trouble if he might have cleared the trees, and he might have cleared everything. Goodness, that started left and kept going. Off they go to look for it. Might take a bit of finding as well. It's the Volvo German Open, all 4 rounds here on Eurosport. And then we'll be back with the Canon European Masters at the starting of September. Here's the swing of Westwood. Let's see if we can spot anything that's particularly wrong. Doesn't look too bad to the top, but then just slides and probably gets his face a little bit shut there as he comes in. It was always going left. Also shoulders a little bit open at impact, I don't know. Not the best of results though. Well, they look for the ball. We have a few nature shots, and not sure if you can eat those or not. Maybe Deadly Nightshade. Robinson and Spence, we'll be seeing them tomorrow. They've already completed their Thursday work. And Greg Chalmers, a left-handed Australian, also going well at 3 under. Ebru Hichstedt, the Swede who was raised in Australia. Good to see he has enjoyed a reasonable round. I think what Canonica, I thought that was a round completed at 3 under. Of course, he's 3 under through 8, having started the 11, so that's the same with Bob May as well, so I'm sorry if I've misled you a little bit. They played 18, Jamie Spence and Dean Robinson, for their 67s, but the others started 11, so on 18 they played 8, so they have the chance to post a score perhaps somewhat better than the 67 of Spence and Robertson. A little bit confusing sometimes on the first 2 days, apologise for that, and rolled on Saturday where everybody starts at 1. I can confirm this is hole 15 for Adam Hunter, and it's the 15th he's played. Three balls on the fairway, so the answer to the question, Jarmo Sandlin, discretion the better part of valor. He has also laid up short of the bunkers. Now on 16, and we saw Lee Westwood away to the left, and Jim Payne has found the lateral water hazard on the right. Now he can't ground his club because he's actually inside the boundaries of the hazard, and if he's got a shot, he's very lucky. Just held on the side of the bank. Maybe playing 3, may get away with a par when could so easily have been playing 3 from the side of the hazard. So problems for Jim Payne. Staunch Grimsby Town supporter, but nobody's perfect. You see, obviously, Lee Westwood has found his ball. A bit further across and into quite a deep rough. He would probably have preferred him almost in the car park, but would have been happier to have landed in the bunker. No real way of knowing how this will come out. If that gets a flyer, club face open just a little bit. He was going for the pin one, perhaps. Perhaps the easier shot would have been to the heart of the green. Gordon Brown Jr. seems to have found the range. Here's Gabriel Ytstedt, who was a rising star not so long ago and then lost it completely last year and could hardly break 80. And here he is this time round, 3 under, 1 behind the leaders, and been getting quite a few invites this year and starting to make the most of them. Indeed here, Mariánské Lázně on a sponsor's invitation. Payne at 16, third shot. And giving himself the chance of saving par. Annoyed to hit such a loose shot. I don't think he would have been out with the driver, probably just an iron off the tee or a fairway wood. So represents the Forest of Arden Hotel where they play the English Open. Now, what about Darren Clark? A while ago he hit this shot so close at 13. Oh, nicely done. He sometimes struggles on the putting green, but 1 under, and rather like Wayne Ryan is no less than the tee shot deserved. back and not too much. Almost could have gone back right into the hole. Splendid shot. Well, I don't think Wayne Riley will get quite as much action on that. But he's going to get some. He would if he pitched on the putting surface into the bunker. Same as fate as Jim Payne. There's a view back from the side of the 14th green. We're waiting for Clark. Short out and Harrington, although maybe Mitchell, Howard Clark and Jose Rivera will be in between them. Meantime, we go forward to 15 and a chance to look at the bunker skills of Wayne Riley. I'm sure he'd rather be showing you the putting skills. Where the caddy was cleaning the club with the sand iron that he hit to get in the bunker in the first place. So got him into trouble. Now let's see if we can get him out. Really opening the stance. He's going to slide under this one, opening the face, opening the stance. Ball you see semi-plugged as well. That doesn't help. See, he's played that so well. Couldn't be sure quite how it was going to come out. And, not quite sure who he's blaming for a miscalculation for the second shot. Adam Hunter. Having missed the green. The breeze getting up. He's put a few pounds back on. I mean, there was a time last year and the start of this year was very much into the fitness and almost looking too thin. I don't know quite what the problem is with the left arm as well. You can see the bandages. Bogey. Drops to 3 over. Just rehearsing the stroke, but it wasn't really the putter. The putter might have got him out of trouble, but prior to that on this hole that his troubles began. Gordon Brown Jr. just failing with his birdie attempt, having to settle for par. Let's see if Riley can save his par. Stay 2 under. Oh, big wander on that one, wasn't there? It started on the left and slid across to the right. And shot gone after a perfect tee shot. Won't please him. Got a chance to get it back at 17. Grunberg lives in Monte Carlo now. And you'll be able to see him on Eurosport defending the Canon European Masters title up in the mountains at Clon-sur-Sierre. Sandlin for his 3 at 15. It looked stabby, didn't it? Didn't look even from behind to be a smooth sputting stroke. And only a par. Quite the jovial Jarmo Sandlin we're used to seeing, but missing putts like that, I guess understandable. So who will threaten Dean Robinson and Jamie Spence? Well, Bob May. Now on the front nine, having started 11th, he has a chance, just one behind, with 10 holes to play. A number of players at 3 under at the moment, and it's still pretty tight. Gabriel Hichstedt and Emmanuel Canonica, they too have a chance to post the low score of the day. But all the other players on that board have finished their first round. We've still got about 45 minutes to run, and we'll be back with more golf from the Czech Republic after these. Welcome back, I'm Steve Beddoe. It's round 1 of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open from Mariánské Lázně, close to the border of the Czech Republic with Germany. What news of Ivan Lendl? Not good. Just dropped another shot, 8 over now, having started with a birdie, his debut on the European Tour. That'll be his last appearance as well. Wayne Riley at 16. Again, a little bit to the left-hand side. And it just depends how she lies. A bit of anger perhaps in that one, having dropped the shot at the last. In Portugal, Araújo was his second win on the tour, won the Scottish Open at Carnoustie in fine style last year. And now Adam Hunter. It's just about the perfect shot as well. Down the left-hand side and staying there. See the ball of Jarmo Sandlin. He's already played side by side pretty well with Hunter's ball. I think Jarmo Sandlin's a football supporter, but Wayne Riley follows his local side, Woking, in English non-league football, but one of the better sides, and knows quite a few of the players, and obviously Adam Hunter, big Glasgow Rangers fan. Now at 17, wide fairway. This is Lee Westwood. Second shot. It's 521 yards, so it should be within range. Now this again from the left-hand side, the ideal place to come in from. That's the right club. A little bit of good fortune, a member's bounce off the mound, and we're batting from just off the surface for an eagle. Probably about a 3-iron, and Jim Payne also with the long iron out. He slipped to 3 over, so both these players, Westwood and Payne, I think will make the English side for St Andrews in the Alfred Dunhill, but they deal with a good check this week just in case. One coming up short. Not even have made the sand. Maybe a miss hit and maybe a miss club. Certainly very disappointed. I think he may be short of the bunker. Just trying to work it out in his mind what went wrong. And well, there's the Ryder Cup standings over there in the States. It's not that time already again, is it? We start to think about the European team in a couple of weeks' time at the 1-to-1 Coventry Masters, and Mark Brooks with his win in Valhalla, the USPGA, to the top of the table ahead of British Open champion Tom Lehman, Phil Mickelson, who was the halfway leader, Scott Hoke, who made a good fist at trying to defend his Dutch Open title. I'll start to Mark McNulty, where the rest of you are watching the Olympics, and Davis Love the third up there as well. Tommy Tolles, who's had such a good season without a win, and Kenny Perry, some compensation I suppose for losing the playoff in the USPGA in his own backyard. So it looks like there could be one or two changes in the side. Tom Kite, the captain, will have 2 picks, of course. Those at the moment, the 10 automatic placings, but a long, long way to go before we get to Valderrama next year. There'll be a Swede or two in the European side. This rough is wet as well, that doesn't help. So back-to-back birdies. As close as anyone we've seen him to. Runs away a little bit past the hole, so that's perhaps the reason the players are touch tentative. Saw Wayne Riley go a good 20 feet past before holding the putt back. He kept down and saw the line. That amount of backspin, it just illustrates really how soft the greens are, how receptive, and really bouncing, really gripping the putting surface, and plenty of spin on the ball. So there'll be a chance for Riley to get that shot back. Andrew Coulthard, a level par, has to go into the red. Come on. Well done, and again that was as close as we've seen in 2, and that's the trick on this hole. Coulthard 1 under. Oh, more problems for Jim Payne. He's that's why he was hanging his head, because his second shot at 17, not in the bunker, some 30 yards short of that, and lucky not to be in the water. That was a real miss-hit, because I don't think he, but I know he and the judge, his caddy, wouldn't have been that far out on the distance, so he hit the right club and somehow never got the ball going at all. It was all a sad story for Jim Payne. A reasonable round starting to fall apart. Mind you, he at worst should save par here. It could have been worse. A yard shorter. He would have been in the water. Back at 16, Jaromir Sandlin's third shot. To admit that through a combination of work commitments and vacation, the Olympics passed me by, and I guess if you're a Brit, that wasn't such a good thing to happen, really. The only thing I saw was the Danish handball team, ladies handball, win gold in Gothenburg in the wee small hours, in a very pleasant bar, with a couple of Danes, so they were in the mood to celebrate, and who was I to stop them? But to say congratulations to Steve Redgrave and Matthew Pinsent, who won gold for Britain. Both keen golfers, and of course Steve Redgrave will be playing a lot more golf from now on in. He's a useful player with the potential to get down into single figures. And Sandlin showing he's still got a good touch around the green. Chip to set up a par. We don't get a reaction for the camera still. No, it's a serious business this now. The two tournaments that we missed during the Olympics, the Dutch Open, won by Mark McNulty, and of course the Volvo Scandinavian Masters, Lee Westwood's breakthrough. Well, be Ivan Lendl, left-hander, into the tree. He did say, and he wasn't talking up his chances, he said his main ambition is to get round a golf course without having to look too often for his golf ball. Well, they may have a bit of a search for that one. And Peter Mitchell. On the 16th. On the green looking for a birdie, Wayne Riley. Go on, go on. Oh, well judged.
That's ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. You've got sand on in your hand and you just do that.
I think he's still looking back about the hole before. He's holed the birdie at 16, but his mind's still back at 15 where he dropped the shot. And there is Ivan Lendl. Still looks very fit, doesn't he? He's his ranch in Goshen in Connecticut. He's got his own golf course. Got 5 daughters. They're all tennis fans, but his wife Samantha plays a bit of golf. Podrick. Again, not quite sure how it would come out of the rough. Nobody ripping this course apart. 4 under still the best, and nobody making a move so far this afternoon under 4 under. Lendl's second shot. Reckons that he might really realistically have a 2 handicap. It wasn't such a bad shot from there. Of course, the organisers say in the Czech Republic he's a bigger draw than Seve Ballesteros, and he's making Seve look pretty accurate off the tee. Seve taking a week off and expect he'll be back in action next week. And wife Samantha Lendl plays a little bit of golf there. The figures so far, you feel a little bit sorry for him. I'm sure he could play better, but I thought he might handle the pressure, having experienced it in his own sport. It just shows you what a difficult game golf is, doesn't it? And that's with nobody hitting the ball back at you. Because he's pretty intense about it, but he'll also not want to be a hindrance to his professional partners Andrew Collison and John Bickerton, both of whom could do with a good sized check in their pursuit of retaining their card. Darren Clark's got a pretty good record around Mariánské Lázně. He's finished tied 5th for each of the previous 2 years the competition's been played. Matthias Grönberg, whose new clubs originally I think had carbon shafts, and I believe he's gone back to steel shafts. They say he was practicing hard last week and it seems to be paying off. Birdie chance at 14. Well, the organisers were right. Gallery haven't come to see, with all due respect, Andrew Collison or John Bickerton. Come to see this man, Ivan Lendl. John Bickerton in the white from Droitwich. Now Lendl, can he stop the rot again and save his par? At the very least, he'd like to break 80 around here. I say he did in practice 69 and 73, but this is different. Oh, well done. Well done. Par 3. He does play a little bit on the 1 or 2 of the US mini tours, and they have a celebrity circuit out there. And, the likes of Magic Johnson and company. Peter Mitchell. Second into 16. And the hardest working players on the tour, Peter Mitchell, pulled out, retired last week with an injury, I think, and good to see it was nothing too serious. And he's back playing again. Playing with Jose Rivero. There's 2 over. Jose, just a moderate season really so far. And this man, Howard Clark, who was runner-up to Peter Teravainen and probably feels that he should have won, didn't finish that well, and Peter Teravainen took his chance. He's back from Kentucky, played all 4 rounds of last week's USPGA. Clark, of course, one of the heroes of the winning European Ryder Cup side at Oak Hill. So not an unpleasant afternoon. We've got about half an hour to run, so let's see all of these players finish, but Eurosport news throughout the evening. No doubt they'll be keeping you up to date with the latest on the leaderboards. And we'll be back tomorrow same time, 2 o'clock UK and 3 o'clock Central Europe, with another 2 hours live from the second round live, 2 hours on the Saturday from round 3, and just a little bit of a delay from 5 to 7 Central European time, 4 to 6 in the UK, with the climax on Sunday. That was Grönberg's attempt for birdie. And Andrew Coulthard starting to make a little bit of a move. 2 under now. Still looking for his first win. He won't thank you for reminding that, but he's had a fabulous season. 7th in the Volvo rankings at the moment. Just having a chat with Billy Foster, Darren Clark's caddy. Chance for Grönberg to get to 3 under. He's got the pace he has on that one. Wasn't going to leave it short. They're enjoying themselves out there. Clark and Harrington, who will be Alfred Dunhill Cup teammates, and maybe Harrington's not quite joining in the party, having missed that tiddler. 2 over. Winner of the Spanish Open to play the final 2 rounds in the one day. Never really faltered. After delaying turning professional longer than some do, made a great start to life as a professional. Again, he's hit a good drive, and again he feels he can get there with an iron on 17. And that's just about perfect, really. Very difficult pin to get at in 2, just over that bunker. That's the percentage shot, really, from Riley. I'm putting pretty well. He probably said to himself, let's get on the green and get the putter out. Won that Portuguese Open, Araújo. That also was rain affected, and for a while it looked as if we weren't going to play the final round, and to his credit, Riley said, no, I want to play it. He was leading after 3, so I want to play it. National Opens should be won, and played over 4 rounds, and he did, and he went out. And he was a deserving winner. Darren Clark at 16. He's one of the bigger hitters on the European Tour. Plenty of power. It's beautifully down from Dungannon, and lives near Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland, which he rates as the best golf course in the world, and he's not far out. It's a lovely place. Quite a bit of movement in Harrington's swing. It's typically Irish in many ways. It's not textbook, and he's pushed it towards that water. There was quite a bit of left knee movement, and I don't know, it works for him most of the time. It's done very well, but he may be in trouble there. Andrew Coulthard on a bit of a run. And into position A. Never contemplated going anywhere near the water. Now Yarmo Sanderlin, 17, must have found trouble off the tee. He may still get away with a birdie 4. Now Clark saves his par at 16, and his putting really that was tentative here last year, as I recall, that probably prevented him clinching a win which his play through the green might have merited. He's been waiting a long time since his last win, way back in 1988, the inaugural English Open at Royal Birkdale. Now, Ivan Lendl, second shot from the left-hand rough on 14. Not bad. It's the right club, and this is the area where it's so important, where the pros are so good. It would have missed the green just there, but they would expect every time they get up and down. Interesting to see if Ivan can. Into 17, and that was the shot of Adam Hunter, third shot. He too must have found a little bit of trouble off the off the tee, or either decided it wasn't as long as Riley and would lay up and have a better chance of getting close to the pin with a wedge in his hand, playing 3. There's a real breakthrough for Adam at Peñalonga last year, a 2-year exemption, of course. I think Porter Carrington may be okay. Probably wasn't far enough right for the water. And actually found sand though. There's Jimmy on the back, who worked so hard in Madrid on that winning Sunday. Go forward to Andrew Coulthard, who was first to play from the left-hand side. Came so close to winning the first tournament of the year in Singapore, lost to the playoff to Ian Woosner. I thought he might have just stolen through in the wind-affected Benson Hedges, but found troubles at 17 at the Oxfordshire, and that wasn't to be, but only a matter of time. And Harrington indeed was in the sand. That one's dragged away to the left. Qualified accountant, so exactly how much percentage he has to pay here and there. This then for a share of the lead. Go on. Oh, that was a great effort really, wasn't it? Finishes behind the hole, couldn't have been any closer. And he's just one off the pace at 3 under. And if Wayne Riley gets a sniff over the top of the leaderboard, he's a hard man to dislodge. Coming in from the left-hand side on 15 as Lee Westwood did before, and this could be very, very good. Oh, certain birdie. So Gromberg's going to go to 3 under. It was almost our first eagle of the week on 15. It's for sure going to be our 35th birdie. So Gromberg settling in well now with his new clubs. It's a 71 for Gordon Brown Jr.
Thanks, thank you, Lee. Thank you. Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Well, the Curtis is, but Brown Jr. the best of the 3. The other 2 slipping over par. There's the birdie for Mattias Gromberg.
Thank you.
Of course, 17, the birdie chance to come. Well, the sky's a little bit angry looking. So they forecast 1 or 2 showers, but the risk of electrical storms seems to have faded slightly. Quite a few about earlier in the week. Scott, Andrew Coulthard, based though in Richmond now, in London, handy for the airport. Go on. You see it's bobbling a little bit. That's just the greens have been so wet, probably getting a little bit late in the day now. Well, he gets his birdie 4 at 17. So with 3 at the last and a share of the lead. We should just about have time to see him complete his round. Let's go back and see if Harrington can make an unlikely 3.
Maybe from there.
And they say a good putt from there and a solid 4.
Need that move down.
The tee shot could have been better. Now Lendl's done pretty well with his 3rd at 14, got it past the hole, gave it a chance. 2 pars in a row. So remains at 9 over. Well, his tee shot at 18 then. .431 yards, moves from left to right. And that's okay, not on the fairway, but no harm done. Got 2 swings, he said, one that's 255 yards, keeps it in play, and one 275 yards, not always as straight. I think that might have been the second one. The long-time leaders, Dean Robertson and Jamie Spence. But that lead under challenge perhaps from Wayne Riley. We'll be back for the rest of his 18th hole, last part of the action after this break. For the last time on this day 1 of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open at Mariánské Lázně in the Czech Republic, near to the border with Germany. It's been quite an interesting first day. And here's a look at Phil Golding, who played so well last week in Austria. Once a little bit wild. He had a top 10 finish, up to 110th in the Volvo rankings, and he's reloading. That may be just a precaution. I don't think there's an out of bounds down there. Going to hit a provisional from the South Hearts Club, northern outskirts of London. If you are in the trees, the ball can take a bit of finding on occasions. And Golding playing with Stephen Richardson and Matthias Bromberg. 3 under, 1 off the pace. Didn't like it. Was a little low and a little bit scrubby, but working from left to right, and that's okay. Darren Clark. The 17th should be able to get up into, but that's a little wayward away to the right, and just depends on the lie. Any sort of lie, it should still be able to get on, but of course he's now got to come across the bunker to the pin, so may have to lay up or just play for the half of the green. Andrew Coltart not wasting any time. Difficult just to follow the ball. That the indication, the impression that it was away to the right as well. This is the 17th, probably the easiest hole on the course. I guess the par 5s are where you look to pick up shots. 4.62 the average at the moment. You can see a lot of movement, bit of a sway back away from the ball on the backswing. It works just fine for Padraig. And he's perhaps the best chance of getting on in two. Head to 18 and Adam Hunter, his second shot. It's got a wood in it. Long way back, may have caught the trees and just dropped straight down. Now, sit. Oh, it's very, very straight. It's okay, not into the long stuff, should get up and down from there. May have been one of those 7 woods. I know Sam Torrance carries one. Don't know if Adam does as well. Flirted with the bunker, Riley, but a little bit of indecision with the club selection, but looking straight down the green now. Getting a wind report from his caddy. No breeze, he says now. If it stays that way, for his sake. He's got a chance. I think the club was just about right. Sandlin to finish level par 71. Totally right for that one. It was always going away to the left of the green. So Ivan Lendl with his work cut out for 3 pars in a row. The way that 15's played. Here's Ivan's third shot. That first one obviously on tape. It's off the back foot. Punching in low and
okay.
Not bad. One or two dark clouds closing in. There's probably about an hour and a half of actual play to go before everybody's finished, and let's hope the rain holds off, or if it does come, it's only light. We'll be finishing in about 5 minutes or so. Probably just as soon as Wayne Riley has putted out on 18. The forecast a lot better than it seemed as if it was going to be at the beginning of the week. Second at 17, has to be a little bit wary of the water on the right, so just playing for position, giving himself just a short shot in for his third, and could still get a birdie. We expect to get close to the pin now. And Darren Clark may have to go through the same process. Didn't get too much action on that one.
Makes supper taste just that little bit nicer, doesn't it?
Adam Hunter, I do believe he's just hold that chip for a 3.
Might even have a starter.
Oh, He's putting on a pound or two is Adam Hunter, and that will help, but finishing with a birdie 3. Yes, and will make the dinner go down better. Nicely done, because he was in a little bit of trouble off the tee. Just checking the card. It's a 73 and it could so easily have been a 75. Has to have a bit to do tomorrow to ensure that he makes the cut. Now this for a share of the lead then. This would be the perfect way to finish our first day's broadcast. Come on, knees to turn. Well, it's going to be a 68. I'm going to join the pack on 3 under. Apart from that lapse on 15, sure even Wayne Riley will consider that's not a bad day's work. 68 then, just the 2 bogeys at 15 and at the opening hole, but a pretty impressive back 9. 34, 3 under, and Riley right there in amongst them. Ivan Lendl slips to 10 over. My betting here come out tomorrow. A little bit of the pressure off perhaps, and shoot a much better score. So Bob May has picked up a birdie, and the American with 4 holes to play shares the lead, and so too Manu Kononica, who we saw at 18 having started at 11. And it's a 4-way tie at the top. So you'll get the information on any further movements on the leaderboard on Eurosport News throughout the evening. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 3 o'clock Central European time, 2 o'clock in the UK for live action of the second round of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. Coming next to athletics, enjoy that. Enjoy your evening. I'm Steve Beddoe. Until tomorrow, thanks for your company. It's goodbye.
The PGA European Tour was brought to you by Volvo.